No Kawhi, no problem tonight. AfterBuzz TV Sports breaks down Game 6 and the massacre of the Spurs and Rockets. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Official AfterBuzz Sports music.
Right.
Yeah.
The theme music.
Let me see. I'm lost.
Go to the homepage.
Okay. Oh, AfterBuzz, duh.
That's right, AfterBuzz is your home. That's right.
Right.
We live, baby. We live.
Hey,
This is what live.
This is what I do
It's
when
all
we're
about.
live on AfterBuzzTV.com, the AfterBuzz TV YouTube page, iTunes, SoundCloud. Like and subscribing, telling your friends about AfterBuzz TV Sports as we break down Game 6 of the Spurs and Rockets. What's up, everybody? I'm Josh Tariff, Twitter @JoshTariff. Full gang here tonight. First, to my left, @JJ the Talented, Mr. Josh Johnson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Find me on social media everywhere, JJ the Talented.
Over on the other side, it is Miss Jill Munroe.
You can follow me everywhere @Stiletto Jill.
Also hanging out over there tonight. What is up, Miss Erika Davis?
Hi, guys. I'm Erika Davis. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Insta Story at Erika Renee D.
And on the couch, because there's not enough room for him,
They kicked me
on
off,
the
guys.
desk,
They kicked me off.
and he's busy daydreaming about what the Wizards can do tomorrow night.
It's because they lost.
It's DeanJilo Platt.
What's up, guys? Hit us up on the live chat. I'm right here. Hit us up with any questions. Also, hit me up on Twitter or Instagram @DeanJilo. That's DeanJilo.
And our head coach engineering us,
Hey.
Mr. Josh Rodriguez.
What's up, everybody? You guys can follow me at Josh_Rodriguez_. I'm excited for this panel. I like this group a lot.
By the way, Josh, is there a way you can turn yourself up for the viewing audience? Because I've been getting reports that we can't hear you.
Really?
Yeah.
How about now? Is this
Well, I
better?
mean, we can hear you.
No,
but I don't know if they can hear you.
I mean,
Audience, can you hear me? If you can, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh_Rodriguez_.
people worried that you were missing, but really the only person missing tonight was James Harden.
Oh,
Starting
shots
early.
fired.
Shots
Go
fired.
ahead and get into it.
Did I say that?
Where's James?
A little bit.
Where's James?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's break down this game tonight, which game is a strong word to describe it, I guess. Spurs win 114-75 over the Rockets. They eliminate the Rockets in 6 games. They move on to the Western Conference Finals to play the Golden State Warriors. But no Kawhi Leonard, no Tony Parker, but this just shows the excellent depth this team has, which we've talked about on this show before.
Yes, we have.
And how much better of a coach Greg Popovich is than anyone else in the world.
Right.
Yeah, I think Popovich. I always say that Popovich is the Belichick of the NBA.
Absolutely.
He takes the most underdeveloped talent and finds these diamonds in the rough and has depth upon depth upon depth. So even though I really expected for the Rockets, the way they came out game 1 to win this series, no one should ever be surprised that Popovich pulls this out of his ass year after year after year. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Can't say I'm shocked.
I think it's a system. He's doing a lot of things right. He's got a system. It's kind of like Avon. It's like if you work the plan, you can maybe be a millionaire. You know, it's like
Or Mary Kay,
if you
more
work, Mary Kay, is
contemporarily.
that what's better?
Yeah,
Amway.
now-
Mary Kay, Amway.
And
Those are pyramid
and
schemes,
Roden
though, kinda?
and Fields now. The
it's
people
like,
still
if
Roden and
you-
Fields.
If you just work the system, you're gonna get a championship, or you're gonna win.
If you just send your social security number, PIN number to that prince in Nigeria,
Right.
you can be a
You
millionaire.
could be a
Right.
millionaire. Yeah.
I mean,
That's
for
what
me,
I did.
I didn't expect them to win. Not that I was counting Pop out. I just thought that the Rockets were a little younger, a little fresher. I think that Mike D'Antoni shortening his rotation. I know that that's the way that they always played, but they actually had to expend or at least attempt to play a little defense this series. I think it hurt them when Nene went out. Just overall, I'm really disappointed in the Rockets, and now it's going to start up that whole question mark again about Mike D'Antoni and his system and whether his system is really built for the postseason.
Well, yeah, we'll get into
But
that and what the Houston's going to do in the offseason shortly, but we really got to start on a positive thing here, and I think the biggest positive out of this game was LaMarcus Aldridge playing like LaMarcus Aldridge should be
Come
playing.
through. You're
I
right.
mean, this man, 34 and 12 tonight, stepping up when
It's
the
about
team
time.
needed him the most.
Yeah.
Because he's cupcakes off too.
Yeah, you
I'm
really
trying to
hate
be positive,
LaMarcus
Jill.
Aldridge.
I
know
do
it's
not
tearing him down.
hate
Not
LaMarcus
like
Aldridge. I am just disappointed that he rarely shows up.
And I think that Oregon sold the Spurs a dream.
Yes.
Or LaMarcus sold the country a dream based on what he did in Oregon and Portland. And he came to the Spurs and has underwhelmingly underperformed.
Well, you don't think he was that good in Portland?
I think he was just okay. I thought that he had the potential to be so much more, but it also seemed that he got in his feelings when it became apparent that Damian Lillard was going to be the best player on that team. His fit is always awkward. He seems to sulk, and when he's not completely happy, his game suffers a great deal. And I don't know what happened in San Antonio. That seemed like that's like a layup. It was set up for him. You have Pop as a coach, a great team surrounding you. They want to use you in the post and get you, to your spots. You can extend out, shoot the three, but
you brought up a great point there, because when he was in Portland, he started out as the guy, then Lillard show up, and all of a sudden he's become the guy. So he was looking for another place to go. He goes to the Spurs, where in his mind, as the time he was going, he's thinking, okay, I'm going to be number one. Kawhi's going to be number two.
Right.
But then Kawhi emerged. So all of a sudden, he kind of turned into the same position that he was in.
In Portland. But do you think LaMarcus went to the Spurs thinking he was going to be the number one option?
I don't think, wasn't Kawhi even when LaMarcus Aldridge came?
2 years ago, he was just, they knew he was going to be a good player, but they didn't.
2 years ago, he won the Finals MVP, right?
Kawhi?
Kawhi.
No. Kawhi's never been the Finals MVP.
Yeah, he was.
Yes.
Yeah.
When was he the Finals MVP?
When
Last year, their most recent
Wait.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
All right.
So I don't think LaMarcus Aldridge came thinking that he would be number one. In my opinion, I don't think so.
I think that's a great point. I didn't think about that. I do. I think that he thought, Kawhi had a great series. He's still a great complimentary player, but it's going to be kind of on me. And it didn't turn out that way. I think LaMarcus lacks leadership skills. I think that's one thing.
Well, I think the main thing that he was lacking was confidence. And to me, this was the biggest game of his career. Because, now correct me if I'm wrong again, Portland has not been in the Western Conference Finals in quite some time.
Right.
We're talking Jailblazers time.
Right. So, for him to be leading
Shout
the
out
team
to
when they're
Sheed.
down two
Both
starters.
teams played hard.
And it just builds the confidence. So when Kawhi comes back, he's got to have all the confidence he can, because he's getting ready to go up against Draymond Green.
What is Kawhi's prognosis as far as when they see playing?
He's playing Sunday.
They're saying he's going to
He's
play. They're planning. It's just a matter of he's probably not 100%, but he's going to be playing.
You know what? I
back.
think that even speaks even more like volumes to Popovich, to his smart, because he could have tested Kawhi out, because when Kawhi was walking into the arena, he looked a little gimpy, but he didn't look as if he couldn't go out there if they absolutely needed him. But again, that speaks to the depth and the coaching genius that is Popovich, and how he's able to put meat in the rotation and win a game if he needs to. Like, I was like, Kawhi's out, no Tony Parker. Okay, game 7.
You're right. It speaks more to him as a coach. And
Right.
I think he knew a little something that we didn't know, because without Kawhi, I was like, okay, Houston has this game.
Game 7, yeah.
But then you see guys like Aldridge step up, and then Simmons step up.
Jonathan Simmons, Patty Mills.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Who is Murray? Like this was the third.
Murray.
This was the third string point guard for the Spurs, and he has 11 points and 10 rebounds tonight.
Double.
That's
I don't know.
inexcusable.
They do. It's Spurs.
Rebounds were key for the Spurs, because in each of the wins they've had in this series, they out-rebounded Houston, and they had a heck of a lot more second chance points. So them getting rebounds was a huge key for them in each of their victories.
But Houston has stereotypically been lackadaisical on defense. So that means,
James Harden. When Trevor Ariza is considered your defensive stopper, no disrespect, he's decent on defense.
Right.
But if that is, where was Patrick Beverly?
Like we're saying with Mills and Simmons and Murray, these guys are supposed to be the ones being guarded by Harden and Beverly.
Right.
And Eric Gordon, who was nowhere to be seen tonight.
All their firepower was
Right. The Spurs played 13 guys tonight. 13 people played. I didn't even think that was allowed.
Right. Can you have that many people on the team?
And six of the 13 in double figures.
Right.
That's a balanced attack.
Yeah.
And considering that's a balanced attack when your best player is out and your floor general is out as well, all you can do is say kudos to the Spurs. But do you think they can beat the Warriors? That's a question for later.
They can't. But but I'm not going to count them out from winning a game or two in this next series.
So you
like I
think
counted them out in this series.
So you think the Warriors sweep is over?
Oh, they ain't sweep.
They're not going to sweep.
No, they're
They ain't
not.
gonna sweep.
I think for me, what has become sexy and commonplace in Western Conference basketball play is perimeter play. And I thought that the Rockets' perimeter play and the shooting 3 points, lights out 3-pointers was gonna kill the Spurs.
That's what I
but
thought.
I mean, that first game I was like, okay, I know it's the first game, but they played just like the Spurs can't come back from this. But to compare the Spurs now going to the Warriors, that's the Warriors game too. And I really think that Popovich and that team with so much depth can play old man basketball and make the Warriors play down to their speed and still, I hope, all the games, but still at least 2 games.
I think the difference between, well, aside from the obvious differences, I think that with D'Antoni shortening the rotation, I don't feel that his team was conditioned because they were having to exert a bit on defense, something that they don't usually do. They, didn't seem to be in sync, and Harden really seemed to be winded. You could see it from going back to the fourth quarter. Today is Thursday. What was that? Tuesday night. That he just didn't look like himself. Someone I was talking to said that he looks a little out of shape for us to be this far into the playoffs. He looks like he's a little on the heavier side for his good playing weight. I
think we've talked about Harden's weight before.
It fluctuates.
Not here on the show, but I think it does fluctuate.
He's got a little
but
belly.
Do you think he's kind of just exhausted?
I think that he was exhausted. I think that they were not prepared to exert that energy. I really think that Mike D'Antoni did them a disservice, especially when you saw Lou Williams wasn't getting it going on Tuesday night and things of that nature by not opening up his rotation just slightly. They needed that. And I know that throughout the playoffs, he, the last couple of games, he shortened it down to 7, but I think that was ill-advised.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith on SportsCenter. Now, I pretty much take everything he says with a grain of salt, but he brought up a really good point.
A broken clock is right twice a day.
Yes, yeah, and he brought up that James Harden looked comatose tonight, and I think that's a great way because he just looked lost. He did not look like he was there. He didn't look like he realized the importance of this game. James Harden tonight had the fewest points ever scored in an elimination game in 25 years by someone who averaged over 25 points a game.
Raise your hand if that's look at right on time with the music. Raise your hand. Is that your MVP? Is James Harden your MVP?
Wait.
Don't go
Based
back
on the
to
regular season.
We've talked about that.
season.
We've talked about this on that show that everyone's going to forget.
And that's the problem.
That the award show
Because
is in
it's
3 months
so
from now.
late. It's so
Well, not only that.
Listen, I'm just pointing. Russell got a little tired at the end of his series as well. I think that even though they're super healthy, conditioning obviously has been an issue. It's kind of hard if you're carrying your whole team, maybe. I don't know.
All season,
but
yeah.
I mean,
So are you
Russell
saying
was chucking up shots
Are
too
you
at the end of
saying
the
that
series.
Harden shouldn't be MVP for regular season because of how poorly he played?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm just giving him a hard time because people are like, oh, they are tied. Da, da, da. My MVP for the bulk of the season has been Russell Westbrook. When you do something historic, triple-double, something we never thought we'd see in our lifetime that we'll still be talking about 20 years from now, likely, and this season, that's the MVP. So I just wanted to throw it out there to all the Harden lovers. That's all.
Why did James Harden only take 11 shots, though?
Kool-Aid in his heart?
Why did the Rockets only make 9 2-point field goals tonight?
Ooh,
They choke. That's a choke.
That's
a
yeah.
choke. It is.
They made
It's a choke.
yeah.
A familiar
Harden
one.
with none. He didn't have a single 2-point basket tonight.
What was his final stat line?
James Harden's final stat line was
10 points.
10 points,
10
2 of 11
points?
from the field.
That's a choke.
7 assists,
That is-
3 boards.
It's a choke.
4 of those 10 points from the line
6 turnovers.
and 6 turnovers.
And 3 of those turnovers, I believe, were in the first
And
quarter.
he fouled out.
Yeah, he fouled.
And he fouled out. So,
I mean, yeah.
once again,
Quadruple.
DeJounte Murray, 11 points. James Harden, 10.
10 points.
Whose jersey are you buying, people?
Where'd he go?
What song is that? I don't know this song.
Rihanna, where have you been all my life?
I don't know this song.
Where? I mean, it's Rihanna and Calvin Harris, I think, actually.
I normally turn when I hear
So-
that.
Shout out to CJ Houston. He said, Russ went out fighting hard and laid down like a punk.
Right, I agree with that. I mean, and also I say this on Sports Weekly every Thursday night at 7 o'clock, PHL Sports Weekly. Make sure you watch. I say this all the time that I got really sick of James Harden's drawing the foul at 3-point line. Like, that is one thing that's been irritating me about him for years. And that, to me, makes him less dimensional than he could be. He depends so much on that play to get his points, and then when it's time for you to actually score and you're not getting the fouls, and I didn't watch the game because I was filming Sports Weekly every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. When you don't get those calls for you, like, are you playing defense? Like, what else are you doing on the court when you aren't getting the refs to suck your thing?
Well, the team is known for driving to the hoop and getting to the line. Houston led the league in free throw attempts. So they took 25 free throws tonight, which was more than what the Spurs took.
Okay.
But for them, that's like half of what they normally do.
Can I interject really quick?
No.
Right.
As a head coach right there.
Go ahead, Coach.
I just think it's this simple. I mean, you could break down the stats all you want. The fact of the matter is, James Harden is basically the key that turns on the car, and he couldn't find the keys. The Rockets could not find the keys. So without that, nothing's going to work. The car's not even going to run. So you can break down all the stats you want. The car was not turned on. There was no car moving out of the driveway. That is the Houston Rockets, and therefore they just got their asses handed to them.
They needed Khaled.
Who was the second leading scorer tonight for the Rockets?
For the Rockets.
Or who's the first leading scorer? 'Cause it
So
couldn't-
for the Rockets, Trevor Ariza led with 20,
Okay.
and then Capella with 15.
Yeah, that's not
Listen,
gonna win
shout out to
basketball
Trevor
games.
Ariza. That's LA, UCLA, Westchester High School, and all of that.
Yeah.
But when Trevor Ariza is your leading scorer,
Ooh.
Not a
says
good
a
day.
lot. And that's not meant to have any disrespect on it at all. Solid player, good for your bench. The only one really that plays defense besides Patrick Beverly for the Rockets. However, it's not going to be a good night. But you would think it would be without Kawhi and Tony Parker. So
Everyone
again,
thought the Rockets were going to steamroll this game, and we were going to have a game
really,
7.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game was prime for the Rockets without Kawhi and without Parker.
In Houston.
Yeah, in Houston. They didn't come
So more fault with D'Antoni and his scheme, or does this strictly fall on your MVP captain of the team?
1,000% James Harden.
through. Yeah, it's
Agreed.
got to be your captain.
You only put up 11 shots. Even if
That's not good.
Even if your game is off, you need to put up 20 something. I'm looking at his stat line. I haven't seen a game where he has put up less than 15 shots.
This was his.
And I'm going like months and months.
Yeah,
back.
this was statistically his worst game of the season.
Right.
Tonight.
Yeah. So.
Was he just ready for big booty strippers and Instagram
1, 2, 3
vixens?
Cancun.
No,
I think it was just the wrong time. Maybe it was just the wrong time for him to have a night like this.
No, I
You
think
know, he
no.
was
This
back
is
at
like
home
this
in
is
Houston. Maybe he went to V Live. Is that still the strip club in Houston? I don't know. Anyway.
this is
Thinking that goes
a
Miami.
this is a trend with James Harden, and I think like it's like we have to go back to when he was a rookie in Oklahoma City. Like you can go back 2 years ago when they played the Warriors in the playoffs. In crunch time in the playoffs, he kind of disappears.
So he
It's
doesn't
not
have
like-
that mental fortitude.
I don't think he
in
does.
the key
He
games.
needs to
Yeah, in
holler
the
at
key
Kobe.
games.
Yeah, he needs to talk to the Mamba.
It
needs to
started
holler at Kobe.
and
He
it
needs to
started
do
in
the
this
dip for Isaiah
series in the
Thomas.
fourth quarter from the last game, like in the overtime game. In the fourth quarter,
It
that's when he
did.
started to struggle. And I feel like something clicked. He was like, "Oh snap, we might win," and he just kind of like.
I thought that what it looked like, what you saw in the final minutes of the fourth on Tuesday in overtime was him reverting back to his bad habits that you've seen so many times before. And I think part of that was fatigue, because for him to have the year that he's had up to
True.
this point,
True.
just what makes you go that far off course from your game? What makes you just that timid all of a sudden?
Maybe it's a mental thing. You know,
Yeah.
maybe he has not learned to step up to the plate under pressure. I don't know. I'm not trying to give him an excuse. He's not my favorite player by any means, but fatigue, psyche, like maybe he's been psyched out. Maybe he can't rise to the occasion because he's getting cold to feet.
One consolation for the Rockets, their offseason is not bad by any means. Their biggest free agent is Nene. So pretty much everyone on their roster that's been a big factor is going to be there again next year unless they decided to make some crazy trade.
Yeah.
So they got that going for them. They have 2 second-round picks. Don't have a first-round pick because that's what they gave up for Lou Williams.
Right.
So
trade.
it's really a matter of, okay,
For
going
the
into,
Rockets,
yeah.
not for the Lakers. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's a
Hurtful.
matter of going into this offseason, what can or what should Houston do to take that next step, because they had a great regular season. They're one of the, based on the stats, based on the win-loss record, they're one of the elite teams in the NBA, and everyone is staying put. So what should be their next step to break that hump, get to the conference finals, contend with the Warriors?
Who's their starting three?
Yeah.
Their big three currently you probably consider Harden, Beverly, and then
Ariza starts at the three?
Either Ariza or Anderson.
Yeah.
And then Garrett Gordon and Lou Williams both come off the bench.
I think they need to. Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say they need to get some defensive-minded people on the bench. Do you know what I mean? So that you could at least somewhere there has to be some defense to come from somewhere. I think that they can hold pat, but the problem is that they're in the West. The West continues to get better, and so they're gonna kind of just be in that holding pat. What were they this year? Were they four?
They were
third
seed.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that I don't really see them moving up to one of those first two spots next season. I think that
They'll probably hold steady at 3.
See, I think the 2 spot is always up for grabs. I know I always go back to the Clippers, but I feel that the Spurs, Clippers, and the Rockets on any given Sunday could be the 3. So, yeah, it could be the 3. I mean, the 2. I'm sorry, the 2 or the 3. Yeah. I guess I'm saying, because the Warriors are a cemented one from now until forever. But I feel like Rockets, Clippers, Spurs any of those teams could be the 3, the 2 or the 3.
Why Clippers? Not anymore. They're going to be dismantled.
Well, I don't know now. Now with the new CBA, I don't know that it makes sense for CP and for Blake to go to another team.
Blake needs to go to another team. I think that is part of the problem. He needs a change of scenery. I think that something is like Blake and DeAndre used
Would
to be
Houston
closer
be a
than
good
close.
fit for that?
I actually think Blake. That's where I think he needs to go. I think he needs to go home.
But with the new CBA, players like CP and Blake would have to take substantial pay cuts to go to another team in the West and then still be behind the 8 ball. Yeah. Like if you go to another team in the West from the Clippers, you're still not better than the Spurs. You're still not better than the Warriors. So why would you take a pay cut and go to a team that still might finish lower than the Clippers would?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It starts for this.
But I mean, on the flip side of that is, I mean, we've seen people take pay cuts, and I mean, it probably is the difference of like $40 million for somebody like CP3 or something huge. But if he really wants to win, you can always do one of those short deals, a 2-year deal someplace, and still get out of it.
CP, maybe, but Blake is like 27, 28. He's not taking a big pay cut
Blake
at 27,
needs to go
28.
away. We don't want him back.
For the Rockets, I'd say.
Well, the Clippers are long gone anyway.
Yeah.
So, and
But
now
the Clippers
are gone too.
To be fair to the Clippers, when they're healthy, dominate the regular season. So it's not outlandish to say they could be a 2 seed.
They could be 2, 3,
for the Rockets, to answer your question, it starts and ends with James Harden. They don't need to do anything. James Harden needs to figure out how to win in clutch time. The Spurs didn't win this series. They did not win Game 6. The Rockets scored 75 points.
Dang.
There's no way you could say the Spurs, like, I can't give Spurs too much credit in this game. Definitely to compete in this series, but the Rockets were a better basketball team. And I think that the fact that Harden didn't show up and no one else showed up in that game. And if James Harden doesn't figure it out, there's no free agent you can bring in. That's your superstar. If your leader doesn't know it, you're not gonna know it. And
I think that's go back to the desert this summer and meditate.
You better call Kobe. Kobe said he's an open book, man. Figure that stuff out.
Kobe said?
Well, looking into the next round now, because Spurs are advancing. They're going to take on the Warriors, the 1 and 2 seed in the West. Who do you think would be X factors for both teams? Obviously, we know the obvious people of Durant and Aldridge and Kawhi and that. But like to me, if Jonathan Simmons keeps playing like he's been playing these last few games, then he's gonna be a real fun battle with Iguodala. Those two guys coming off the bench.
Okay.
So I'm really intrigued in that matchup. Probably the most intrigued of that, besides the obvious matchups. I think it's going to be a much closer series than people are thinking.
I don't.
Oh,
I
think 4-2.
Yeah.
4-2.
4-2.
I mean, I feel like the Spurs got lucky. Sometimes it just happens. I'm not taking away from their talent or what they have, but they were not really supposed to come out of this series.
I think the Warriors are going to do what the Rockets should have done in this series, which is win 4 games, run them down.
You think they're going to sweep them? It's hard to believe the Spurs will get swept
with the firepower they have from the 3-point line.
Just
That's
get those runs up on them big, and they're not going to be able to back them down.
Not going to do it.
Since the Warriors have really exploded on the scene, so in the last 3 years, there have only been 2 teams that have beat them more than 3 times: the Cavs and the Spurs. The Spurs know how to beat them. They might not be able to beat them in a best-of-7 series.
And that's what's most important here.
Well, right, but I'm saying this series is going at least 6 games.
I think,
Yeah, that's fair. Fair.
You were asking about X Factor, Josh.
Yes.
My X Factor is not going to be a player. My X Factor is going to be when Steph and Clay and Dre are all off from the perimeter. Like, that's my X Factor. Like, because they've had series where 2 of them have been in slumps, and they're a much better defensive team than the Rockets, but like their prowess is scoring, shooting you out of the gym. Don't let Steph and or Clay have 2 nights where they're slumping. That to me is an X factor. Now we haven't seen that so far in playoffs because they haven't really been challenged.
And, I mean,
but that's my X factor for this next round.
You always have Kevin Durant.
that's what makes them better.
But this year,
and then
it's
Draymond
different.
has been having an excellent playoff series.
Draymond's the
he's the
MVP of the
Warriors
playoffs
right
right now.
Yeah.
If the X factor is if Pop can somehow get Mike Brown to have to do an adjustment. If it comes down to coaching,
I was just gonna say,
and that's the only thing I
another
got.
X
Like,
factor.
I'm like,
no,
Mike
Pop
Brown
versus
versus
Mike
Pop.
Brown.
Yeah, like then if you somehow make Mike Brown have to do his job, then I'm like, okay, maybe the Spurs will have a chance. That's the only way I feel like.
But when does a coach ever have to actually coach the Warriors in the past
that's the question.
year or 2?
Yeah.
That never even matters. I mean, we see what happened with Luke Walton.
I agree.
Josh, and your Lakers.
Yeah, what about it?
Also,
Yeah, okay.
Parker Bradley on live chat said that the X factor is Powell and Kawhi's health, of course.
Well, yeah, Kawhi's help, but yeah, Powell's a great one too
I
because
think Powell's
he's
past
been.
his prime.
He's been very quiet. I mean, tonight he did have a double-double. He had 11 boards, but
Powell
only
had a
10
double-double
points.
tonight?
Putting in
But
some
only-
calm
but only-
double-doubles, though.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously he's a solid player, but I just don't think that he's impactful. It's just. I think he's past that point as far as
Well,
his career.
I think that could be another intriguing matchup though. Off the bench, you will have McGee, young, kind of crazy JaVale McGee,
Right.
versus
Right.
the old wise Pau Gasol.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of will Gasol
Isn't-
outsmart
isn't
him, or will
JaVale's
McGee just
old too,
be
though?
athletic? Huh?
He is getting
Well,
older.
well,
but
he's
athletic
older,
as
but he's just crazy athletic.
Yeah.
Doesn't really.
Okay.
But I feel like
he doesn't think before he jumps.
But I feel
Right.
like he has enough help that if you get a little physical with Powell, it's gonna kind of leave him in his sorts and open it up a little bit for JaVale to look maybe better than what he really is.
That's a good point. I think Powell consistently. I remember when he was with the Lakers. Like if you rough him up a little bit, he'll get frazzled.
Yeah,
does
it
get a little
fr-
frazzled.
It used to be frustrating.
But also, maybe he was a little bit timid when he was playing in LA because he had to kind of defer and cower to Kobe. And
no, that was his BFF though. They bonded over being.
let me tell
the
you,
Yeah, they were
European.
good.
Kobe was nobody's real BFF. Kobe got on the court and he cursed everybody out, everyone kowtowed to him. So
Kobe's BFF was Kobe.
Thank you, Josh.
It's not rocket science to figure that
Listen,
out.
no,
Yeah,
they were as close as possible to be close with Kobe during that time period. They had a different type of relationship.
But there's still
it matters.
intimidation
They
factor.
had like a Steve Harvey and his staff relationship.
Right.
No.
Like you better rebound or you're gonna get cursed out and bitch
Don't
slapped.
speak to me in
You
the
better
hallway.
not talk to me unless we're on the court.
Right.
That's the only area where we can have a communication. Do not give me eye contact unless
They were a
you're
little
passing me the
social.
ball.
That was his boy. They were cool.
Well, let's look at the Eastern Conference right
Let's
now.
not.
I'm good.
Right. Let's
No,
not.
wait.
Well,
why are you saying that though? Like
let's talk about the collapse
you
yesterday.
guys gotta go 7 games, man.
Yeah, you're
But
down.
let's talk
you're
about
down
the
Was there a
collapse.
basketball game on yesterday?
You're
There
down
was.
Are you worried?
Look at everybody.
Wait a minute. I don't know why I'm standing up for your team. Like, are you?
Well,
worried
I have
they'll win
no
game
faith
6?
in the basketball. I would love us to win, obviously. But
Well,
they didn't. Oh, go
so
ahead.
far this round, the home team has won every game. Game 6 is in Washington. So why are you not confident in your team?
Because they didn't play and inspire. They didn't. It's not about losing. It's the fact that they did not show up. They James Harden that entire game. Like they didn't. I didn't see.
We're
I
gonna
didn't
coin that
see-
phrase.
Yeah,
Missing.
They James Harden that, and I think that it's hard to get behind or emotionally behind a team that in a game where if you get ahead, you're ahead 3-2. It's hard to get behind a team like that doesn't show up in an important game like that. Even if they win this game 6, why would I believe they'll win on the road? That game 5 was huge and. Nobody, not even John Wall, showed up.
Well, because we were saying earlier that the Celtics suffocated him on defense. I
Yeah.
mean, again, I've said it before on Sports Weekly for Thursday at 7 o'clock that I did not believe that the Wizards even had a chance in this series. Period. Like I didn't even want to discuss it. It's a waste of time. I feel.
Well, I mean,
these teams to me are closer than any teams in the playoffs.
I agree.
Evenly matched teams.
yeah.
I agree.
Very evenly matched. I think the key for the Wizards, if they're going to win, they have to keep the ball out of Isaiah Thomas's hands. They have to keep his points low. They have to get they have to rebound.
And you need Bradley Beal to show up.
Yeah.
Bradley Beal to show up.
Who's your
big
rebounding
way.
guy?
I mean,
Gortat.
Gortat's a double-double.
So Gortat has to do his thing.
But yeah, but
Morris rebounds
Bradley
as well.
Beal, what you guys say, I mean, he's currently in the series, he's averaging just over 19 points a game, which is not bad, but it's not nearly as good
needs
as
to
it
be
should
doing
be
a
for
lot
Bradley
better.
Beal.
Right.
Bradley Beal's the type of guy who should be getting between 23 and 25.
Yeah.
What to give the Celtics credit though, Amir Johnson starting he's been the reason that they've suffocated John Wall very well because they've
Shout
done
out
well
to
in
Westchester High School, another
Did he
one.
go to yeah?
Yes, he did.
really?
Yes, he did. Westchester High School, came straight out of high school, and his birthday's May 1st, same day as mine.
He came straight out of high school.
Yes, he did.
Oh, so he's
in that
old.
little
Oh,
last
he
thing.
old.
I think he just turned 30 or 31. He came out 2005, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay. So what they did at home to get rid of him is they got him in foul trouble. That didn't happen in Boston, and I think they got to get rid of him somehow, attack him. We got Gortat to like post him up or Morris. Like I think they'll have to do that in Game 6 and in Game 7. Somehow get rid of him so they can have room on the fast break.
Well, and the Wizards can't let Avery Bradley
That,
bust
like,
out a 29-point game.
Doesn't make any sense.
I mean, well, that's
Right.
But again, we were talking about depth with the Spurs. I mean, the Celtics in Game 5 in particular, besides Bradley with 19, Thomas with a low 18 points, which is low for him.
That is
But then
really
Horford
low.
had 19, Crowder had 18. Marcus Smart has been probably the most consistent player for
Yeah.
the Celtics in this series.
Yeah.
Well, averaging like
I mean,
7 points a game.
Well, he's averaging about 9 points, but each game he's getting up also about 6 assists. And last game he had 11 rebounds.
I bet you if you do those hustle points, I forget how they're calculated.
Like the plus minus thing.
yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
would have a lot of the hustle points.
Yes, he would. I don't have that number in front of me because I don't know how they calculate that. but I mean, and the other really intriguing thing, because a lot of people have been talking about just the second round of playoffs in general, how it has not been overall entertaining. There have been 19 second round games. 17 of them have been decided by over 10 points,
Yeah,
That's
that's
crazy.
which is ridiculous.
that's boring basketball.
Very boring.
But I think we're going to get another one of those tomorrow night in favor of the Wizards.
Right.
And that will I hope lead to a close Game 7.
No.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
I wouldn't be shocked to see us
seven,
lose.
I'm
seven
not
games
interested in the
series.
East until it gets to Celtics Cavs. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not. I'm not sold on. I'm not sold on John Wall in the playoffs. You know, beat me up. Sorry.
Come on,
Playoffs.
Wizards.
I mean, playoffs is fair.
I'm not sold on John Wall.
He's been
And
balling out in the playoffs though. Why are you
I
not
mean,
saying this now?
This is a great season.
I'm just not sold on him leading the Wizards out of this round. I just from the beginning I was like, the Wizards, okay, they'll get swept. I just didn't believe it.
Wow.
So you're shocked that we won 2 games?
I am. I don't know if it's because Isaiah. I mean, Stevens. I don't know what it is. I just always
Something about it, yeah.
I
I felt that way about the Rockets.
I
don't look
feel
at
that
the
way about the
Wizards.
Celtics,
I don't look at the Wizards as a real contender.
Why are you so convicted about the Celtics though? Like, what about them is just
Because when Stevens got hired a few years ago, I was like, this little man is so smart, and he's going to turn this franchise around. And he has consistently gotten the Celtics better. I mean, they're 1 seed this year, but even when he came in, I followed his college coaching career, and I really believed in him as a coach, and he's proven himself year after year after year.
Right. Hey.
I like his coaching, but I just feel like the Celtics, as comprised, I don't have a lot of belief in them as a team.
I'm scared they'll get swept by the Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Final,
man.
personally.
yeah.
I'd rather see the Wizards there because I think the Wizards will compete a little better.
Me too.
I don't think so.
No, I do think the Wizards this year would give the Cavs
This
more
year.
competition.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Celtics, just their team chemistry is just phenomenal, and their youth, and the fact that they could very well score a free agent because they can still afford it thanks to Crowder's
George.
super cheap contract, and the fact that they're going to have a top 3 pick in the draft,
Yeah.
Right.
I
which
would
they can
love
use
to
as
see
trade
that.
bait too.
If they got like Paul, I would love taking my Wizards out of the equation. It would be really cool to see Paul George go there and then
Yeah,
whatever
that's
draft
not
pick
gonna
they
I
get.
mean, I've been hearing
Right.
that. That's
It'd just be cool.
people don't want
Celtics.
Yeah,
that.
they shouldn't have wasted that money on Al Horford.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Game 6 tomorrow night. Jill, do we have any news and gossip?
We do.
Arise.
First, we're going to start off with a little Did You Know? So,
Ooh, I like those.
Since we're inevitably kind of looking ahead to not Celtics, Cavs, Warriors, just some things. So on shooting, right? The so far through, because both the Cavs and Warriors are 8-0 in the playoffs. What do you think their field goal percentages are? So I'll tell you that the Warriors are at 48.5%. What do you think the Cavs are at?
Higher than that.
Yeah, definitely higher.
49.3. Okay, so there was another stat. Okay, so for their big three, the Warriors are scoring 66 point. I can't talk tonight. It's late. I'm sleepy. 66.5 points per game. The Cavs, where do you think they're at?
Their big three.
Their big three.
Which is that considered LeBron, Kyrie, and Tristan Thompson? Because that's what it is.
No, I think
Very
they're
fair.
including
Kevin Love.
Kevin.
And they're including Kevin Love, then I feel
Lower.
like it should be lower, but
Right.
LeBron's just been on a tear and it's probably higher.
72.
There it is.
Dang.
It's a lot of LeBron in there.
Assists per game. Warriors 11.5. Cavs
More.
Only 11 assists per game? Oh, they're like combined from the big three or from what?
for the big three. For
Oh,
the big
I was
three.
gonna
These
say,
are
they
just for
got
the
a lot
big
more
three.
assists.
I say
that.
Cavs 14.
Yeah, I agree.
You're good.
I didn't look either.
No,
I was
I
right.
believe you. No, I believe
14's a
you.
good number,
There's thing.
yeah.
Okay, and so for rebounds per game,
Oh, that's Cavs.
Yeah.
Warriors are 16. What do you think
Oh,
Cavs are at? For their big
19.
three. 20.
Yeah, they're
So
more than that.
they're pretty evenly matched. So I mean, the way that
That's
it's
the
coming down
big three.
on
Yeah,
paper,
it's the
the
big
big
three.
That's the
three
big three.
in general,
Then
though.
comes the others.
But
the
they got
other
four.
stuff in the gym.
Right.
It's four of them.
So I wonder. So
For the Cavs.
This is the thing. So just a little thing. Okay, so two other quick little updates. Now we know Draymond Green's been talking. I think he's been getting a little bit of unfair criticism because he has an opinion and
He's a shy guy.
he's just talking a little bit. But Richard Jefferson unloaded some ether
He did.
on his podcast to Draymond's criticism about the Cavs opponents that they were playing. So this is Richard Jefferson's quote that was on his podcast. Somebody that decided to start a podcast after we did, because Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye, and a young lady have a podcast called Road Tripping that they do when they're away at road games, and now Draymond has his. So he said, which I think is just decided to do a podcast after we did, to comment on the quality of teams that we're playing. I don't think that's very nice because obviously we know what Portland and Utah have accomplished this year, or just in general. I can imagine with Nurk being out, Portland was not at full strength. With George Hill being out, obviously Utah wasn't at full strength. Mike Conley being out a couple of years ago, full strength. Pointing out to what happened a couple of years ago to the Warriors when they were playing on their road to their title.
Right.
Cavs have not having Kevin or Kyrie at full strength. So at the end of the day, to criticize what other people are doing, I think it's just best you take care of whatever's in front of you. But you should never criticize what other people are doing. You should never criticize what other teams are doing. At the end of the day, if you're not working with an efficient group of guys that are handling their business, then you should if you're working with an efficient group of guys that are handling your business, just take it. But you should also look at, have we been playing the highest level of teams every single year and everybody at full strength before you criticize other people?
So
Little base.
there's one area of that I'm going to disagree with Richard Jefferson on, because James Harden just proved it tonight. The fact that players can be down, but you still have to come out with a game plan and execute it. Yes, the Warriors have had situations where people have gotten hurt, but they could have got lazy. They could have underestimated them and be like, oh, Conley's out. We got this in the bag.
I mean,
Kinda
Steph
like
was
what
hurt last year. Steph was hurt last
Houston
year.
was thinking, oh, Kawhi is out. We're bringing this to 7, no problem. And Josh, where did James Harden go? Do we know where James Harden went?
I don't have any more sound effects, but I can't find him. I've been looking for him everywhere.
All night,
Has the
all
chat
night
roll
long.
found him anywhere? I mean, maybe he's in the chat roll.
Maybe he's posting a Bow Wow challenge.
Maybe.
Baby. And so,
And I like Jefferson's point though, because every team does depend on some luck, and I do think that the Warriors, the year that they won their championship, got lucky and coasted. They got lucky. I mean, I know you have to game plan for whether or not your opponent is healthy or not, but there was a lot of luck involved in the Warriors' first championship. So Richard Jefferson, I co-sign. I co-sign his point.
I mean, I think that they both had fair points. I'm not really mad at either. Let's just get the intensity up. He had made some very valid points, but I think every team has a bit of luck that they deal with, especially when you're getting further and further into the season.
They're bored. They're ready to get to the finals.
The Warriors have had a lot, but even look at the Warriors' path to the finals, or to the Western Conference Finals this year. Like, who they play? They played the Jazz last round. Come on, that's a joke.
I agree.
They played.
Oh, I completely disagree. I think the Jazz might have been the best defensive team in the West.
Yeah.
That was a joke for the Warriors. Like
but they're young.
The Jazz.
The Warriors made that a joke. The Jazz are a good basketball team.
Dream of matching the Warriors' intensity. And so first round they played who? I really don't remember who they played the first round. Portland first round. Also a joke. I mean, so like
Portland's going to be a top 4 team next year.
Imagine if, this year, imagine if the Warriors had to play the Rockets first round. Imagine if the Warriors had to play, OKC first round. Like, they've gotten super lucky. So let's not.
I think if the Warriors played OKC first round, it would have been the same results as they played Portland.
I think they would have swept them.
I think they would have swept OKC.
They killed them during the regular season.
Yes, they did.
But I mean, that's the playoffs. You play the easy teams in the first round, right? One plays 8. That's how it works.
But not always. Not always. Going back to 2015, when Clippers and Spurs played that was like a finals. That was like a Western Conference Finals. That was a
4-5.
It was 3-6, I think. It was a 3-6 seed.
Were the Clippers? The Clippers were a 6 seed.
No, we were the 3 seed.
Oh, the Spurs were the 6 seed.
Yes.
The Spurs were a 6. That don't even sound right.
That sounds weird, right?
I don't even believe that. I gotta look that up.
That's why I was just telling you guys that the Clippers, Rockets, going back, Clippers, Rockets, Spurs, they could all be 2 or 3, whatever. But it's the truth. But yeah, I think that there are instances in which the first rounds can be tough for people, and the Warriors have circumvented that very successfully and very fortunately.
To your point, 10-year anniversary of the We Believe team.
Which one? Warriors.
Baron Davis,
and the Mavs. Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Not the. Well, it's the We Believe team, but the Mavs. They would have already knocked them out by this point. I can't remember who they played to knock them out, but yeah,
it happens. It
happens.
It does.
So, it does happen.
Well, because by this point in the season, we were in the second round.
Almost happened to the Celtics that you love if Rajon Rondo didn't get hurt.
True indeed. Right. They would have taken.
I don't know why. I'm low on my Wizards right now. I don't know why you're so high on the Celtics. I just don't. I don't get it.
I mean, they are our number 1 seed team.
All right,
because of the Cavs.
Well, let's quickly go around the room.
Or number 2 seed team.
All right, let's quickly go around the room. DeanJilo, will there be a Game 7 in the second round?
I'm depressed. I don't know.
I'm saying yes. Josh.
Yes.
Jill.
I'm saying yes.
Wait, second round what?
No, Game 7 in the second round. So will the Celtics and Wizards go 7?
No.
Okay, Josh Rodriguez.
It is tonight.
Absolutely.
I hope y'all are right.
So we'll see what happens, and we'll be breaking it down, of course, for you here on AfterBuzz TV Sports, and of course, the conference finals and the draft lotteries next week. So lots of stuff that's going to be breaking down. But in the meantime, you can talk to us on all various forms of social media. Erika, how can people reach out to you?
You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Insta Story. I do fun things on Insta Story you should watch.
Play the piano. She's very talented.
Erika Renee D.
Hey. I'm Jill Munroe. You can find me everywhere at Stiletto Jill.
I'm Joshua Johnson. Find me all over social media at JJ the Talented.
Yo, shout out to the dog ISO 1000, CJ Houston, Noel Clayton for being popping on the live chat. Thank you for joining us. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, DeanJilo. That's DeanJilo.
Coach Rodriguez.
What's up, guys? You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, at Josh_Rodriguez_. Once again, actually, hold off on the Western Conference, Eastern Conference schedules. We'll let you know. Obviously, we have to do a couple less shows because there's less games, but thanks for watching.
Yep. Right. And you can follow me on Twitter at Josh Tariff, and for all your other AfterBuzz TV news and gossip, follow them on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV. Thanks so much for tuning in this week for everybody here, because there's a lot of us. I'm Josh Tariff. We'll see you later.
Deuces.
Where's James?
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.